Most people can't afford it. Are you for it? For no class. Don't be late for your appointment. Be fast, or I could be your biggest disappointment. Disappointment, you don't want
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. Starting off talking about the bullshizny that's out there. Yes, the bullshizny, because that's the way that it rolls and it goes and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, how are you doing on this fantastic Whip 'em Out Wednesday? Because we have to emphasize how important the wow is when it comes to Whip 'em Out whenever or Whip 'em Out Wednesday. Anyways, today is Wednesday, as I have already stated 5 times, February the 8th of 2023, day 39th of the year, and only 326 days left to go. So I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods as we are hanging and banging, doing everything that we get to do on this lovely Wednesday. So how was the last 24 for you? Because I always think that those things are important as we are talking, opposed to it just being, hey, let's just throw it out there and just talk. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to do a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about everything going on inside of the world of the news, so don't worry about that. We'll talk about the State of the Union address. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point, so we're going to get a little swampy. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Okay, so we're here with our friends at Radio Big because that's important. So listen, I have to tell you this because I had a major cluster, the F-E-F-E word that occurred yesterday. I had a podcast that I was releasing for the Jay Allen Show, and it went gonzo. I mean, it went gonzo on me, so I didn't realize this until later in the day that it had not been forthcoming. So you got the main story from yesterday on the Jay Allen Show as well that we did here on this show. So that's what occurred. So if you didn't go, hey, hold on, this sounds familiar, if you were hanging out on that other side of the section, that is what is going on. So listen, I have to share some stuff with you, and I'd like to start off early where we can talk and do this and all that kind of fun stuff. So here's the event. The event of events that has already sold out, even though it's a month away. It is a month away, and it is already sold out. This is the event that we have going on in Santa Fe, New Mexico, the Safety Differently Workshop. So I appreciate everybody who's actually going and who has bought tickets. And I appreciate the people that have reached out thinking that I have the secret stash of tickets that were not released to the public, and I'm just holding on to them. Unfortunately, I don't have a secret stash. But I did tell you that immediately in the future for the next any event that we had going on next, I would bring it up. So I think it's now time to do this. We're going to start doing Safety Worlds Collide. And I'm going to be hanging out with Sam Goodman and Brett Sutton. And we will be hanging out in Phoenix, Arizona. So mark your calendar if you want to come and hang out. It'll be May the 9th and May the 10th. May the 9th and May the 10th. We'll be hanging out in Super Bowl country. Yeah, I did say that. If you want to come and hang out, Sam Goodman, Brent Sutton, and yours truly, Safety Worlds Collide. If you go to our Safety FM website and click on live events, tickets are available there. Listen, we're doing early bird because I've learned my lesson. We're doing early bird on this in-person event. So this is what I will tell you is you're going to have us three. We're going to be there for 2 days. So you'll have an option of getting a 1-day ticket, a 2-day ticket, or potentially both days. Because we're still doing everything, hanging and banging, that's why it's early bird. The early bird will close by the end of the month. So just so you know, I just want to share with you because I feel so bad. I really do about everything that happened in regards of how quick we sold out of this other one. And I didn't think we would be this a month out. So I do apologize. So next event coming up, in between you and I, as we are working on this, I will start doing processing to get the other events moving and grooving as well. So don't worry about that. That's how we'll do this, and we'll talk. Anyways, with that being said, if you want to interact with the show, it's an easy process to doing so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. Callinradio.com. That will get you everything moving and grooving as we are doing our thingo. So don't have to worry about that. Callinradio.com will get you moving and grooving inside of there. Other side of the equation that makes it kind of easy, kind of a reference piece and all that kind of fun stuff. If you look at the visual radio side, you can do that by going to safetyfm.com or going to radiobig.fm, and that will allow you to see the visualization of what the hell I have going on here, which I don't know why you would want to put yourself through that kind of torture, but that is some options that are available because, hey, why not have options if there are options? So today, let's talk about real quick what's going to be on the source of material. So we will talk exactly on what was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about it. We're going to talk about what's going on the tap today. So it's going to go like this. How the world's richest man plans to divide his empire amongst his family and drop the wholesale egg prices. We'll talk a little bit about that. Summary analysis and reaction of last night's State of the Union address. You kind of already knew that was going to happen. How could we go past this and not talk about it? Should we talk about Jennifer Lopez says that she had a great time at the Grammys with Ben Affleck and Post Malone, is the healthiest he has ever been. I mean, we can talk about that in the show business if you want to. And then Gillian Anderson joins the cast of Scoop, a Netflix film based on Prince Andrew's disastrous interview about sexual assault allegations and friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. We can talk a little bit more about that if you're so inclined to do so. So we talk here about safety in the news and safety, because that's the way that we kind of do our thingo. And with that being said, because we do it in that format, we bring in some pro broadcasters because I'm just an asshole, so I can't really just broadcast the whole time because you're going to be like, aren't you the asshole guy? And I'd be like, well, yeah, kind of. So that's why I bring in the pro broadcasters, because they're not going to be so assholish like I am, which kind of makes it a fun thing. So keep that in mind. That's why we bring in the pros, let them do their side of the equation. And so then we kind of go from there and move and groove. And that's it. Then I come back, give you some level of a main story, and we move forward and say how much we love what we do for work and how saving people is the most important thing in our life. Seriously, that's really what we talk about. So that's what we have going on. So with that being said, let's get you into some newsos, because what the hell else are we going to do together? Seriously.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
James is now the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Daniel Martindale fills us in.
He needed 36 points to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and finish with 38 in Tuesday night's loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBron James now has 38,390 points in his 20-year career. He broke the record on a jump shot late in the third quarter, then was greeted by his teammates, family, and Kareem himself in a ceremony at Center Court in Los Angeles. The record had stood since 1984. I'm Daniel Martindale.
President Biden condemned political violence, recognizing Paul Pelosi in his State of the Union speech. A man attacked the husband of then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in his home last fall.
Here tonight in this chamber is a man who bears the scars of that brutal attack, but is as tough and as strong, as resilient as they get. My friend Paul Pelosi. Paul, stand.
Biden said democracy was also put to the test in the room he was standing in on January the 6th, 2021, noting the Capitol riot. He condemned hate and extremism and noted the importance of upholding election results and honoring the right to vote. A Memphis police officer is under fire after texting photos of a beaten and bloodied Tyree Nichols to at least 5 people. Video footage of Nichols' fatal arrest was released last month, which showed officers repeatedly kicking, hitting, and tasing him before propping him up against a police car. In the footage, an officer can be seen taking pictures on his cell phone. On Tuesday, the state released Memphis police documents that show Officer Demetrius Haley admitted to sending a photograph of Nichols to at least 5 people, including 2 other officers, a civilian employee, and a female friend. The report says a 6th person also received the photo. And 6 months after a brutal attack in western New York, a best-selling author is returning to the spotlight. Salman Rushdie was stabbed during an event last summer, and the 75-year-old lost sight in one eye and the use of one hand. He's now returning to public life with an interview and promoting a new book. He's still recovering and will not go on a book tour. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News, I'm Rebecca Bunzen in Mumbai. Rescuers in Turkey and Syria have worked through the night to try and find survivors trapped in the rubble of Monday's earthquake as the death toll approaches 8,000. The UN has requested everyone to put politics aside in Syria and allow humanitarian aid to flow into the country. The Pentagon says China refused to take a call from top American defense officials after the US shot down an air balloon at the center of a growing spat between the two countries.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders says the GOP is the party of freedom and family, while the Democratic Party is about hate and waste.
Despite Democrats' trillions in reckless spending and mountains of debt, we now have the worst border crisis in American history.
Sanders provided the Republican response to President Biden's State of the Union address Tuesday night, referring to Biden and Democrats as the radical left. Sanders says they tax Americans and then light Americans' hard-earned money on fire. She said Biden is more focused on woke fantasies than on the realities that Americans face. She also accused Biden and Democrats of trying to take away Americans' freedom of speech. Sanders said Republicans believe in strong families and safe communities. The death toll from a massive earthquake in Turkey and Syria is rising at a rapid pace. At last report, well over 7,000 people were dead. Thousands more are injured in both countries. A federal judge is rejecting a proposal to modify the bail conditions for Sam Bankman-Fried. Lisa Taylor reports.
U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan didn't provide a reason for the denial and said a hearing remains scheduled for the disgraced crypto king on February 9th. The 30-year-old has been out on a $250 million bond since pleading not guilty to looting billions from the now bankrupt FTX. The denial comes despite an agreement between Bankman-Fried and prosecutors to address potential witness tampering concerns. I'm Lisa Taylor.
And Bed Bath & Beyond has announced the closure of another 150 stores. Just 1 week after telling the public they would close 87 locations, the home goods store announced another 150 will shut down in an attempt to keep the company afloat. In total, roughly 350 physical stores have been closed. Last month, Bed Bath & Beyond warned it may file for bankruptcy, and sales dropped 33% the following week. The company says it's raised nearly $1 billion to pay off its debt, and it hopes to maintain at least 360 stores nationwide. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Radio in USA, Canada, UK.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, The Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So the question becomes automatically when you hear that, is that enjoyable? I never know truly the answer of it. Well, unless you kind of have one of those crap paradise things. But anyways, that's a whole other story to get into. Anyways, 19 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this fantastic Whip 'em Out Wednesday. Yes, that's exactly what it is. So let's get into the shit list right away about the things that are occurring in the multiverse, not the multiplex, but the multiverse of things. That's for sure. So let's start talking about this. On January the 30th, a district court judge ordered the unsealing of the names of the two guarantors who signed for Sam Bankman-Fried $250 million bond. It's likely that they put up 10% of the total amount of cash, meaning that they were on the hook for at least $25 million. But wait, SBS successfully delayed the process on Tuesday, arguing that revealing their names exposes them to danger. The judge is now extending the unsealing date until February the 14th and will consider the arguments to keep the names under wrap. So, who do you think the top secret people are in regards of, I paid for this guy to get the hell out of jail? I'm just asking the question because that's going to be a thing to talk about. Anyways, Indonesia is in talks to produce a steady stream of batteries for Chinese companies and Tesla cars. The country's president wants it to be the new green industrial park for more than 40,000 acres to the global hub of industrial manufacturing. But wait, there's more. In order to power the industrial park, they're building coal power plants. The news comes after Biden administration pledged in November to give Indonesia $20 billion to get off coal power. So there you go. And then meanwhile, British Petroleum is backing off its green energy goals because they're too expensive. The company has revealed, or better say, they have revised down the goal to reduce carbon emissions by as much as 40% to half that. So I don't know. It's interesting when you start taking a look around at all this stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that there's the pros and there's the cons. And listen, it looks like when you start taking a look at it of being able to do the flip-floppy stuff in regards to moving from one to the other, it is going to have some costs like anything does as you're doing the transitioning, just kind of the way that it goes. And then, of course, the other question becomes this. What the hell do you do with all those batteries after they're dead? It's another great question to talk about. So as you're moving forward, do these manufacturers of these giant batteries need to have a way that you just replace the individual cell as the cell goes out, opposed to replacing the whole battery? That's probably going to be the ongoing argument for some time as we're thinking about this. Why the hell am I getting so into this stuff? What the hell's wrong with me?
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Okay, newly minted world richest man Bernard Arnault has concerns that his luxury fashion empire could fall into pieces when he dies and his 5 kids inherit his estate. All 5 kids are aged between 24 and 47. Talk about getting it out for some time. Apparently work in the company in various roles. The New York Post reports that Arnault has split his assets equally among the 5 through holding companies to prevent too much, mudslinging. The company owns a minority stake in LVMH, but they have a 64% voting rights to maintain total control. This stake is currently worth about $200 billion. I was going to say $201 billion, but it's a little bit number kind of off, not exactly $200 billion. So there you go. What do you think? It sounds like a pretty decent estate if you kind of think about it.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, North Korean leader Kim Jong Jr. had not been in public for 36 days until Monday. It is believed that state media, which releases the photo of Jr. Meeting military advisors and telling them to prepare for war. A military parade is expected today to celebrate the 75th anniversary of Korean People Army. Worth noting, if he's not there, that's a big red flag that something's very wrong inside of his kingdom. So we'll see what goes on as we are hovering around today. Wholesale egg prices have fallen 50% since December. The retail prices have not yet caught up. One analyst tells CNBC it typically takes about a month for retail prices to catch up with wholesale rates, but the break from the high egg prices might be short-lived as people in March start stocking up on dyeing their eggs before Easter. You know, I have to tell you something. We're talking about eggs for a moment. I had a friend that I was talking to a few days ago, and they were telling me that they boil eggs to eat later, but they keep them in the shell. Now, I don't know about you, but if you've ever been into somebody's house where the eggs are saved after they're boiled in the shell and it's been there for a few days, the odor is terrible. Do you think that that when you buy pre-boiled eggs at the grocery store that they don't have a shell on them for a reason? I want you to think about that because there's a lot of stuff there as we are talking.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, 24 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on inside of the world of the charts on this Whip 'em Out Wednesday. The top 5 fiction and nonfiction currently on the New York Times bestsellers list kind of goes something like this. In the fiction category, at number 5 is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And number 4 is Verity. At number 3 is Lessons in Chemistry. At number 2, It Ends With Us. At number 1 It starts with us. Colleen Hoover still has 3 of the top bucks that are there. If we look at the other side of the equation, it goes something like this inside of the nonfiction category. At number 5, The Light We Carry. At number 4, Never Give an Inch. At number 3, The Body Keeps the Score. At number 2, I'm Glad My Mom Died. And at the number 1 spot, still Prince Harry with Spare. So there you go. That's what's going on over there on that side. Let me bring this up because we do talk about professional wrestling from time to time on here. WWE legend Jerry Lawler was rushed to the hospital on Monday after suffering a stroke. According to TMZ, the 73-year-old underwent surgery at a Florida hospital following the episode. Several of his former pro wrestling friends asked for well wishes and prayers on social media. No update has been given on his condition. So just want to bring that up as we are talking. We're talking about this. Let's go ahead and get some moves and talks about some other things. We do hope well wishes for Jerry the King Lawler. I mean, he's still doing it at 73 years of age. Hey, he might not wrestle every day, but he still does continue to wrestle. Let's do this real quick. Let's bring some John Smalls inside of here and let him tell us about what the hell is going on in the market.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Equity markets went on a wild ride Tuesday following comments from Fed Chief Jerome Powell, who indicated that a deflationary period had begun, but it would be quite a while before it was fully tamed. He went on to say the committee wanted to be certain inflation was under control, which should be taken to mean higher interest rates will last well into 2024, if not longer. The takeaway for the market is that high inflation is on the way out, but the downward pressure on economic activity and the S&P 500 earnings will remain. The S&P 500 gained more than 1.25% at the high of the day Tuesday and closed above 4150, but it's not out of danger yet. The 4150 level marks the lower boundary of a zone of resistance that has yet to be broken. If the index can get above 4,300, a more sustained rally may form. If not, the index is destined to remain range-bound in 2023. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, and the return, of course, because that's always a big factor. Let's talk about a little bit of what I was able to locate. Take a listen to this. The Dow added about 265 points to close at 34,156 on Tuesday. The S&P added about 52 points to close at 4,164, while the NASDAQ added about 226 points to close at 12,113. West Texas Intermediate closed at $77 a barrel as Brent crude closed at 83. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.45 on Tuesday. Bitcoin was up more than 2% on Tuesday, trading just north of 23,200. There were more than 1,080 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Tuesday, with about 50 cancellations, give or take. And here you go. Take a listen to this. There was a winner on Monday night's Powerball drawing for $754.6 million was pulled from Washington State. The winner has the option of the jackpot of the 5th largest in history of $407.2 million cash payout, or they can actually take it out into some payments and the way that it would look. So tonight's drawing will be for $20 million and the jackpot or a $10.8 million cash payout. I always look at that and go, what the hell would you do if you did win? Because that would be always the interesting of what you would do, because there is some options to talk about. So let's do this because everybody will be talking about this today. So let's talk about what the hell's going on inside of the world of politics.
Declaring the State of the Union strong. In his second State of the Union address last night, the president claimed credit for progress made during his first 2 years in office, while stressing that the job is not yet finished.
I stand here tonight, having served as long as about any one of you who've ever served here. But I've never been more optimistic about our future.
He hit on several key issues, including the economy, Russia's war in Ukraine, reproductive rights, and police reform. The president, facing a divided Congress, kicked off the speech by appealing to bipartisanship, telling Republicans he wants to work together instead of fighting for the sake of fighting. And Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders provided the Republican response to President Biden's State of the Union address on Tuesday night. Referring to Biden and Democrats as the radical left, Sanders said they tax Americans, then light Americans' hard-earned money on fire. She said Biden is more focused on woke fantasies than on the realities that Americans face. She also accused Biden and Democrats of trying to take away Americans' freedom of speech. That's politics. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Oh, don't you love it when we get swampy-umpy as we are talking about everything that's going on? So anyways, let's talk real quick. Coming out of Maryland, a Townsend pub will host a Republican fundraiser to support people who are being held on charges related to the 2021 attack at the U.S. Capitol. The Charles Village Pub and Patio received criticism regarding the Republican Women of Baltimore County January the 6th political prisoner fundraiser. This Townsend resident say may not agree with the group, but says that they should be able to hold their fundraiser.
That's one of our guaranteed freedoms in the First Amendment, is that we have the right to assembly, so you can meet however you want. Do I personally agree with it? Not really, but yeah, I think anybody should be able to gather.
In a Facebook post, CVP says that it has declined to use of the venue due to the overall feedback and for the safety of the staff and patrons. In addition, the pub will not host any future events by the group. The RWBC has found another venue and plans to hold the fundraiser in Delta Hotels Baltimore on Shanna Road in Hunt Valley. The original Charles Village Pub on St. Paul Street is not associated with Townsend location. Just a little FYI there. This Townsend resident believes that the pub made the right decision.
The backlash for hosting these events is warranted in any efforts to help the families. I hope that the help is to have those families come to the recognition that raiding the Capitol is a crime.
So there you go, some information coming out of there as we are talking. Take a listen to this. Lake Elsinore is looking to avoid a repeat of the super bloom chaos that happened in 2019. Since then, Mayor Natasha Johnson says that the city's closing Walker Canyon, which is showing early signs of another major poppy bloom ahead of spring.
Of Disneyland-sized crowds were seeking to experience nature. Many came unprepared, and they placed an undue burden on the emergency responders and placed themselves and others at risk.
In 2019, tens of thousands went to the area, causing heavy traffic. Some visitors were injured in car accidents, and California Highway Patrol motorcycle officers manning the traffic control died after getting hit by drunk drivers. Trails for both public and private land will be closed until the poppies are gone, and parking in and around the Walker Canyon will be banned. California Highway Patrol Lieutenant Greg Palmer says that parking on the side of the freeway to look at the flowers won't fly either.
We're out on the freeways. We're providing education and enforcement, and we're here to ensure traffic safety as well as congestion relief.
Riverside County Chad Blanco says that his deputies will be out looking for trespassers who will face fines and possible arrests.
I'm here to tell you that your warning is right now. We will have a zero tolerance policy for people that are here trespassing and parking on sides of the roadways.
This woman lives in the area and says the 2019 Super Bloom was a mess.
Yes, especially on the weekends. Oh my gosh, Saturdays and Sundays, there's too many.
Okay, so there you go. No super blooming for you if you're out there taking a look. So, anyways, it's currently 33 minutes past the top of the hour. You know what that means? Well, that means we're behind, number one, and it means it's time for our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, today is going to be one of those subject matters that I think that you're going to need to bear with me just one moment as I start to get into this, because I want you to understand that it is definitely a privilege being able to speak to you about any topic that we talk about. But this topic today is probably closer to my heart than what you would imagine. And this topic has plagued humanity for centuries, and it continues to challenge us in different ways every day. And I want you to bear with me as I go through this, because it's going to be a lot for some. And I'm talking about the complex and often perplexing emotions we experience towards things that we love, things that we hate, and things that we adore. Because I think it is so important to talk about this, and people are going to go, have you lost your freaking mind? And I probably did many years ago, but that's a whole other story. But let's talk about some of this stuff. And I want you to think about this, and I'll go slow because, I don't even know how to say some of these things sometimes. But first and foremost, let's talk about love. Because we've all been there. We've all been there in the grips of that intense passion of love affairs with particular objects, person, and sometimes even ideas. Love can bring us immeasurable joy. I mean, just think about it. Just think about how you've been in love with whatever comes to mind when you say that. But often it makes us feel as though we are walking on clouds. But it's not just love that can make us feel this way. It also can lead us down the path of heartbreak, devastation. And so my advice is to choose wisely what you love. And there is a reason that I want to talk about all this stuff. But let me get into another subject real quick. And the next in the line of things that we talk about is the things that we hate. Because you kind of have love and then you have the hate. A feeling often described as the opposite of love is really what it boils down to. Because you either go from loving something to most of the times hating it. It's not kind of like that dislike in between. But let's not get too hasty in our judgment of hate. After all, without hate, it would be very hard to know what true love really is. And hate can drive us into great things, to fight for what we believe in, never give up. So in many ways, hate is powerful as a motivator. Think about it. But let's be careful not to let it consume us, as we'll end up looking like the Grinch. I mean, think about it. I mean, you love stuff, you hate stuff, and look where you end up. And finally, let's talk a little bit about that thing of adoration, because I think that sometimes people get these things mixed up with the other two previous. This feeling comes after looking from us at something in awe, with a sense of wonderful, being wonderful, and reverence as you take a look at it. Adoration can inspire us to do great things, to push the boundaries of what we think is possible. And it can be a source of creativity, motivation, and often leads us to new meaning and purpose in life. So let's talk about why I want to talk about all three of these things. What does this have to do with work and life? And that's where we come into this. It's kind of a simple thing as you really kind of put it together. The emotions that we feel towards the things that we love, the things that we hate, and the things that we adore can have a profound impact on our work and life. They can shape the decisions that we make, the path that we choose, and the way that we approach challenges. So I know that sometimes people don't look at it this way, but I look at it this way. Embrace these emotions, use them towards your advantage, and never stop exploring complex and fascinating world of the human heart. Because believe me, as you take a look at this, a lot of times we have to rely on these things to drive things forward. And I'm not saying be super emotional, and by no way am I the person to tell you what kind of emotion you should have. But you should be passionate about the work that you do. That be it love, that be it hate, that be adoration in the things that you do. In the words of the great Philip K. Dick, reality is that which, when you stop believing it, it doesn't go away. So let's not stop believing in the power of our emotions. Let's continue to explore and understand them and use them to make our work and life, a little bit more real, a little bit more vibrant, and, of course, a little bit more absurd. Think about that today. It's going to take you places that you didn't think you were going to go.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
From Washington. laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger, from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Low-key, do I make you unsure? So sweet, but maybe I'm a monster, imposter.
Oh, there you go. It's still Whip 'em Out Wednesday. It is 43 minutes past the lovely hour. This still is the Rated R Safety Show, hour number 1 of the Jay Allen of the Morning Show. And this right here, well, this is an imposter. That's the name of the song. This is by Maymay. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. We would like to thank Maymay for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. I would say give it a little streamer-eamer action. Maybe we'll do some Maymay, the rest of the week, too. We'll take a look around. So there you go. Anyways, let's get back into the move and the groove, the things that we have going on this lovely Wednesday, because there's lots to talk about. How do you look at this? Do you look at it as Whip 'em Out Wednesday? You look at it as Hump Day? Do you look at it as I'm just the sandwich? I'm a side of the meat sandwich here. I'm the meat in the middle, just stuck in the middle of the week. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people have weird feelings towards Wednesday. I just look at it, hey, it's another day of the week that I get to do what I get to do, and I think that that's important. Don't you love that when I hit the microphone, if you have your headphones on, You got to love me for that. So anyways, let's talk real quick about the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you in my life, that's for sure. And that's about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. Or you can text the word TALK to 988 or call 988. So there you go. That's some options that are available for you in regards of getting some stuff done. There is no doubt about that. So as you say that, think about it. If you're struggling, that's the number to call. So keep that in mind as we are hanging out on this Wednesday. Getting into some more information about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Speaking of conversation, sure, you can send texts back and forth with friends, but how often do you actually talk to them? Yeah, think about this. A team at the University of Kansas is sending us a reminder of the friendly chat with a friend just once per day. Versus not through technology can make it happier to promote a better sense of well-being, leading to lower stress levels. Those chats can range from catching up with joking around and sharing options, or simply letting someone know that they were on your mind. What's more is the researchers have found that while just one conversation is enough to promote well-being, more is definitely better. Those who enjoyed more than one quality conversation had better days. Unless someone brought up politics, then nobody really has better days altogether. And I'm glad to see this because I was invited to have a nice chat with 3 teachers and a principal just last week. So, it's always a good time. It's always a good time when things happen. Take a listen to this. The move of paper straw is definitely better for the environment, but nobody likes it when they get soggy and self-destruct on your second sip. But hang on there, because scientists at the Korea Research Institute of Chemical Technology say that they are developing a 100% biodegradable, environmentally friendly paper straw that doesn't get soggy. It turns out that the paper straw we use these days aren't just made of paper. If they were made 100% of paper, they would get soggy the moment that you would actually use it, so it wouldn't be a usable straw. So manufacturing a coat service of it's an acrylic resin that goes on it both, which is the ingredients of plastic bags and adhesives, but they're coating the material doesn't fully decompose, becoming a microplastic. Instead, the South Korean researchers managed to come up with a coating material which is made of the same stuff as largely that makes up paper, but it can completely break down in the environment. So as long as it doesn't get wet, apparently you're good. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Okay, let's make sure the straw doesn't get wet. And to me, the only thing worse than a soggy straw, well, is the word soggy. I mean, just something to think about as we are putting it all together out there. Duh. So let's continue talking about more things that are going on inside of the world. What time is it? It's 48 minutes past. So let's continue talking a little bit, because I do have some other things that are going on inside of the world of the news. Let's talk about this real quick. The death toll from Monday's devastating earthquake in Turkey is closing in on close to 10,000. Mark Mayfield has more.
As of this morning, there were close to 9,500 confirmed dead in Turkey and Syria. Bitter cold weather and a shortage of trucks and fuel are slowing efforts to get international aid and rescue workers to quake-stricken areas in southern Turkey and northern Syria. Crews have rescued 8,000 people just in Turkey, but aid groups say that time is running out to find more survivors under the rubble of collapsed buildings. They consider the first 72 hours after a natural disaster to be crucial for rescuing survivors. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information right there of what is going on. Should we talk a little bit more about some of this? I think we should. Take a listen to this. The Memphis police officer is under fire after texted a photo of beating bloody Tyree Nichols for at least 5 people. Mark Mayfield has more information. Take a listen. This one has a little bit more detail.
Video footage of Nichols' fatal arrest was released last month, which showed officers repeatedly kicking, hitting, and tasing him before propping him up against a police car. In the footage, an officer can be seen taking pictures on his cell phone. On Tuesday, the state released Memphis police documents that show Officer Demetrius Haley admitted to sending a photograph of Nichols to at least 5 people, including 2 other officers, a civilian employee, and a female friend. The report says a 6th person also received the photo. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information there on what's going on. Yesterday, we briefly spoke about the unvaccinated public employees that aren't automatically getting their job back once New York City lifts the coronavirus vaccine mandate on Friday. Take a listen.
Qualified before, why are they no longer qualified? Why do they have to reapply for their jobs?
So Mayor Eric Adams says that nearly 1,800 employees who refuse to get the shot will have to reapply for their old jobs. That includes teachers, firefighters, and police officers. They won't receive back pay for the time that they spent off the job, and unions are planning to sue the city. Most New Yorkers say that it's long overdue. New York City is lifting the mandate more than a year after putting it into place.
It's a long time coming for the working man in New York City because they let the sport athletes get away with this a year ago.
All they had to do was let them keep their mask on.
So there you go. A lot of stuff coming out of there as we are talking. So should we talk about this? Should we do the breakdown? Let's do it. Former President Donald Trump is responding to President Biden's State of the Union in a video posted to his social media. Trump gave what he called the real State of the Union.
Biden and the radical Democrats have wasted trillions of dollars and caused the worst inflation in half a century.
He went to say that Biden and the radical Democrats are leading the country to the brink of World War III and took shots at the administration handling of immigration, crime, and the war of the Ukraine. Trump, who is rearing up for the 2024 re-election campaign, said that he's running for president to end the destruction of America.
Millions and millions of illegal aliens from 160 different countries have stormed across our southern border. Drug cartels are now raking in billions of dollars from smuggling poison to kill our people and to kill our children.
Trump claimed that Biden is using the Justice Department to attack his political opponents.
Joe Biden's weaponized Justice Department, and I'm a victim of it, is persecuting his political opponents. His administration is waging war on free speech.
So there you go. There is the former president talking about his point of view on what he calls the real State of the Union. I don't know how you could do that, but hey, whatever. I still ask that question. I still have not been on that social media platform, and I don't know if it's any good. I want to know, like, if he posts something, does like everything kind of go over? Like, do you have the main page? Is he the Tom of MySpace? You know what I'm saying? The Tom of MySpace. Anyways, after all that bullshit, I think we need some motivation minute to be a little bit motivated.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Luke. Nelson Mandela said, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." I agree completely. Be prepared to fall. You will. It happens. I've fallen many times. You probably have too. Be ready to fall down. Prepare for it, and then have a plan to get back up again. When you fall down, you only lose if you stay down. Think about a boxing match. They can get knocked down over and over, but if they stay down, they lose. In life, we can and will get knocked down from time to time. Just do your best to get back up as quickly as possible. By rising again and keeping up the good fight, you will be on the right path. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. 10,000 steps a day. Most of us heard about this recommended dose, and we all know that walking is really good for us. But how do you take walking and get more effectiveness out of these 10,000 steps? More fat burning, more potential weight loss, more metabolic effect without going faster. First, get an appropriately weighted weight vest. Not too heavy so that walking becomes too challenging, but also not too light where you don't notice the difference. Second, explore a different terrain. Switching from flat surface to dirt roads, rocks and sand, you end up burning a lot more fuel because you're activating different muscles. Third, walk in a fasted state. You are less likely to burn up muscles, when you are walking compared to other more strenuous forms of exercise. For more information on wellness, check out alessamorgan.com.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you know how it is. It's some risky business around here as we are talking about some stuff. At least it seems that way, depending on what the hell we are talking about. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date because people seem to care about that. So let's talk about it. Taking a look around. Let's go all the way back to 2007 because this was kind of a surprise to most people. Anna Nicole Smith dies back in 2007 on this day. The model, actress, and tabloid sensation passed away in Florida of an accidental drug overdose. She was 39 at the time of her passing. That happened back in 2007. I can't even envision that it was that long ago, but that's how long it's been. Back in 2007. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Jaden Hosler turns 22. Catherine Newton turns 26. Clay Thompson turns 33. Julio Jones turns 34. Anderson Paak, 37. Cecil Strong turns 39. Seth Green turns 49. Big Show, Paul White, the wrestler, he turns 51 today. Vince Neil turns 62. And Creed Bratton turns 80. And John Williams, yes, the famous composer of movies such as Star Wars, Superman, and Indiana Jones, he turns 91 today. So just so you know, if you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you as well. It's Opera Day, National Molasses Bar Day, Laugh and Get Rich Day. Can I sign up for that one? Okay. And then National Kite Flying Day. That's what we have going on the particular days to celebrate if you're so inclined to do so. I don't know. Always look at it and go, it's kind of weird. Let's talk about Did You Know real quick. Workers get itchy feet around 18 months into a new job. A study of 5,000 employed adults found that the average point when an employee comes to realize exactly what their job prospects are and whether it's time to start thinking and finding something new. The leading causes for those itchy feet not being valued for their contribution, feeling like they're underpaid, and deteriorizing their working condition. The 18% said that they experienced job doubt when they have found themselves working too many hours. The workers reported that once they start feeling frustrated, they started looking for new work on average within 4 months and typically look just over 3 months to land a new position. So there you go. Hopefully there's not a lot of pissed off people at your job place because that could get weird quick if you really kind of think about it. Anyways, it's Wednesday, so let me give you some whack facts real quick. The Empire State Building only took a little over a year to build, and it was completed 12 days ahead of schedule. No high jumper has been able to stay off the ground for more than 1 second. There are more than 70 species of mushrooms that grow in the dark. The first telephone answering machine was 3 feet tall. And crows can only remember the faces of individual humans. They can also hold a grudge. Well, that's terrible news to know. Anyways, let me talk about this. If you need a phone starter, or if you need a random joke for today, let's do that one. You know what they say about cliffhangers. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What animal or plant do you think should be renamed? There's so many. If you need something for the water cooler, you can try this. In a survey of 34% of people said this happened to them at a Super Bowl party. What is it? They fell asleep. If you're not big into Super Bowl, I have something else. A survey asked, what are a little things that make you happy? And what was the number one answer? Most people said a hug. They would just want a hug. That makes them happy. Well, good for them. If you need a hug, you should hug someone. If they want you to hug them. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. I do appreciate you hanging out with me on this lovely Whip 'em Out Wednesday. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm at the top of the hour. If you want to come and hang out with me, we're going to do some music stuff, hang out for the next couple hours or so, and talk about the world of entertainment. So you're more than welcome to do that. Anyways, thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Help your brother's boat across, and your own will reach the shore as well. Think about that. It's so important to talk about. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.